Over the last almost 2 decades, I've founded over a dozen businesses that have generated over $40 million in online sales. Today, I'm going to share my list of 10 tips for starting your first business. Tip number 1, don't write a business plan. Now, don't hear me wrong here. I'm not saying don't plan your business. What I'm saying is don't write a formal business plan. You've probably heard about these. They're like 10 to 30 pages long. They cover a variety of topics, but usually the same kind of format that most businesses use. A lot of times they're used for business plan competitions at the university level, but essentially they're covering a ton of topics you just don't need to worry about as a first-time entrepreneur, especially as a teenager. Think about the things that are most important to you with regards to your product or service, how you price that, what customers you're going after, and most importantly, think about sales and how you're going to get those customers. Do not worry about writing some 30-page formal business plan. It's going to be a waste of time. What's important is you create a basic plan for yourself and then just get started. You're going to learn along the way. Tip number 2, define your goals. Why are you starting the business in the first place? And what are your goals in running the business? Understanding what success is for you will have a tremendous impact on how you launch, run, and grow the business. If your goal is to learn how to start a business and get something launched, a product or service that's ready to sell, that's awesome. Learning by doing is a great way to go about it, and it's certainly a great success for a lot of folks. If you have bigger aspirations and dreams, that's okay too. They're just different goals. Let's say you want to go create a summer job that replaces a traditional job. You don't want to work for somebody else. You want to create your own business that makes as much or more than a traditional job would. That's awesome too, but that's going to be a different goal. You're going to look to make maybe $4,000 or $5,000, $6,000 over the course of the summer. That's awesome. Just understand you're going to build and run the business differently as a result of that. Maybe you actually want to go create a full-time job for yourself. That's an excellent goal, but it's just different. And so again, you're going to be making long-term decisions for yourself. You're going to be tracking to a different goal. You're going to be taking the business in a different direction than you would if you had other goals. And so it's really important for you to set your goals up front, know what your expectations are, and build the business accordingly. Tip number 3, give it time to grow. Businesses do not take off overnight. No matter what you might think from the headlines that you read in the newspapers, it takes time for word-of-mouth growth to really start benefiting you and your business. You have to have enough customers experience your product or service and have a really good experience during that time. They have to be able to have time to also share that with others in their lives that are looking for that kind of product or service, and for them to then purchase and buy and have a good experience and share. And it's this ripple effect, and it takes time for that to pick up steam. There's a real momentum aspect to business, and if you stop after 90 days or 6 months, you're missing out on all the hard work and benefit that you put into the early days that will eventually pay off. But just don't expect that to happen overnight. Tip number 4, focus. I'm talking to myself more than anyone else at this point, but as entrepreneurs, we've got a lot of ideas, and as a result of that, a lot of us have entrepreneurial ADD. After 90 days, we get bored with the topic or the business or the work that we're doing, and we want to go start something new. And so it's really, really easy to get distracted, and all of a sudden you look up and you're running 3 different businesses at once. Your brain is split in all these different directions, and you're not doing anything great. And so my tip and recommendation, something I had to learn the hard way, is focus on one thing. Grow that thing to the point where it's self-sustaining and runs on its own, and once you get it to that point, you can start something new. But focus on one business at a time. Tip number 5, pick a business model and a business idea that is proven. Our job as entrepreneurs is to do everything we possibly can to reduce all the risks that we have. As a result, you're also increasing your chance of success. So if you choose something that's already proven, something that's already out in the marketplace and entrepreneurs have made that a successful thing, then you have someone to follow. And if there are other entrepreneurs out there successfully running that business, then you know there are customers and there's demand for that product or service. So you've already eliminated a ton of the risk associated with being an entrepreneur just by modeling something that's already successful. If you want to go do something new and innovative one day, something that's never been done before, that's awesome. I just would not do that for your first business. Your first business is all learning about business. It's how it works, how to launch it, how to do it successfully, how to make a profit. And once you do that and you have a valuable, profitable business, now you've got funds that you can then go invest in these side projects, these long shots. Tip number 6, competition is a good thing. Do not get scared by it. In fact, it can and should be motivating. Strong, healthy, and growing competition in your market is a good sign that there's a healthy demand for what you're trying to produce and sell. It means there's customers, it means they're willing to buy, and it means there's growth, which are all really good things that help eliminate all those unknowns associated with starting most businesses. All you have to do is use your competition as inspiration. They've already proven it works. They already proven there's a model. You can be profitable doing that thing. All you have to do is do it bigger, better, different. Separate yourself in some way, and you can be successful. It's all about then marketing and sales. So you're really trying to figure out how to find customers, deliver value to them, and make sales. Tip number 7, build something simple. Any complexity that you add to the system increases your risk. Any complexity there is in your business adds the opportunity for things to break. There's a world of difference between starting a babysitting business and building and selling a mobile phone app. With babysitting, my guess is if you really worked at it, you could get it launched within a day or two, and you might be able to be profitable within a week. You could probably start growing that business and making sales and doing a great job reaching some goals within 30 days. With a mobile app, even if you're doing the development yourself, you've got a lot of time involved in actually coding that app, providing design and UX, testing it to make sure that there's no bugs in it, the user experience is great, getting it approved by the App Store, getting it uploaded, and then you have to actually advertise the app to try to get people to download it, and then you have to find ways to monetize it. There's just an enormous amount of complexity, and there's a lot of opportunities for failure along the way. And if you're starting your first business, this may not be a great place to start. If it is and you still want to press forward with it, just set the expectations it's going to take a while. Tip number 8, good margin is key. What is margin? Well, margin is essentially the difference between what you charge for your product or service and what it costs you to deliver that product or service to the customer. Margin can be one of the largest indicators pointing towards how fast your business can grow. The more margin in your business, essentially, the more valuable a customer is to you. And the more valuable a customer is to your business, the more you can spend to acquire them. What do I mean by that? Well, if you've got a good margin and you're making a good amount of profit per customer, you can spend more to go find those customers and more of them. You can run online ads, you can run TV ads, radio commercials, you name it. There's a lot of different ways you can advertise them. And if you've got a good margin, you have a good budget to work with to go grow. If your business has a really small margin, then you're very limited on the ways that you can go find new customers. Maybe you can only use free methods of advertising, or maybe you can only spend just a little bit on ads in order to find new customers. And so as you can see, it really limits how fast you can grow as a business. Tip number 9 is business model matters. Businesses that lend themselves to repeat purchases by their customers are a lot easier to start for first-time entrepreneurs. A lot of times, one of the biggest challenges young entrepreneurs have is finding lots of customers. And so make it easy on yourself. If you're trying to make $1,000 a month with your business, and let's say you offer a service that a customer buys every single month for $100, all you need is 10 customers and you're at your goal. 10 customers paying you $100 a month is $1,000 a month. That's a heck of a lot easier than selling a $10 product that customers buy once. If you're trying to make $1,000 in a month with a $10 product, you have to find 100 customers per month. That's a whole lot more work than just find 10 loyal customers. So what are the types of businesses that lend themselves to this? Well, services are a great place to start. Lawn care, power washing, meal prep, tutoring, the list goes on. Tip number 10, and I really cannot say this enough, you need to focus on marketing and sales. As entrepreneurs, we really like to build stuff. And so we spend an enormous amount of time working on our product or designing our service and trying to make it perfect. And a lot of times we fall into this mentality of, if I just get this thing live and ready to sell, people are gonna love it and they're gonna flock over and make tons of purchases. And that's just so wrong. Oftentimes we fall into this build it and they will come mentality. And we feel like all we have to do is launch our website and all of a sudden people are gonna come to the website and buy from me. And it just doesn't happen that way, I promise you. As a young entrepreneur, I know the desire is to really focus on the product or service you're going to be selling, but I really encourage you, spend more than half your time focused on marketing and sales. At the end of the day, if you've got a product or service but no sales, it's just a really expensive hobby. It's not a business. What really makes the business and what's going to lend to your success is making sales. And so you need to spend time there. Think about who your customer is, how you can get in front of them in an inexpensive, profitable way. Think about how you're going to tell them about the product or service and how they're going to buy from you. From that planning and all that thought, put it into practice. Try it. And build a sales engine. Build a process that you can repeat over and over and over again to find new customers. If you can do that, I promise you, you will be far more successful than if you spent all your time focused on your product or your service. Here's a bonus tip that would have saved me years and years of heartache and trial. Leverage courses and mentors as much as you possibly can. They've already spent the decades learning how to do business well, and they've already spent all the time going through the failures and learning the hard way. So use that. Avoid those same mistakes. Do it well from the beginning, and you're gonna save you so much time. You're gonna be so much farther down the road as a result of that. But at the end of the day, the best thing you can possibly do is just get started. So if you're watching this and you're excited, but you're wondering, well, how do I get started? We put together a video for you. So in this video, we walk you step by step through the process of how to launch a business in just 5 days and everything you need to do to be successful doing it. So go ahead, click the link and check out that video.